Random House Audio presents The Talent Masters, Why Smart Leaders Put People Before Numbers, by Bill Conaty and Ram Charan. This is Bob Walter. To the many great business and human resource leaders who have inspired me over the years, and to my family for supporting my efforts to make a difference in the HR world. Bill Conaty. To the hearts and souls of the joint family of 12 siblings and cousins living under one roof for 50 years, whose personal sacrifices made my formal education possible. Ram Charan. Chapter 1. Talent is the edge. No talent, no numbers. If businesses managed their money as carelessly as they manage their people, most would be bankrupt. The great majority of companies that control their finances masterfully don't have any comparable processes for developing their leaders or even pinpointing which ones to develop. No matter how much effort they put into recruiting, training, and assessing leaders, their talent management remains hit or miss, governed by superficial criteria and outdated concepts, dependent as much on luck as on skill. These are the companies that wake up some morning suddenly realizing they need a new CEO, but don't know where to start looking. More pervasively, by repeatedly putting people into the wrong jobs, they waste both human and financial capital when those people don't perform. How did this come to be? After all, it's clear enough that people make the decisions and take the actions that produce the numbers. Talent is the leading indicator of whether a business is headed up or down. Everyone agrees that it's a company's most important resource. But a spreadsheet full of numbers is a lot easier to parse than the characteristics unique to a human being. You can control what you're doing. The numbers are unambiguous. The outputs are clear. People, not so much. Better to leave that to the HR staff or search firms, particularly since the pressures to make your numbers quarter after quarter is so great that there's no time to waste on the soft stuff. And, of course, the law requires financial reports. You've no doubt noticed, however, that making money has gotten harder. It will remain so for the imaginable future. In the fast-changing global marketplace, the half-life of core competencies grows ever shorter. All of the familiar competitive advantages, such as market share, brand, scale of a business, cost structure, technological know-how, and patents, are constantly at risk. Talent will be the big differentiator between companies that succeed and those that don't. Those that win will be led by people who can adapt their organizations to change, make the right strategic bets, take calculated risks, conceive and execute new value-creating opportunities, and build and rebuild competitive advantage. Only one competency lasts. It is the ability to create a steady, self-renewing stream of leaders. Money is just a commodity. Talent supplies the edge. We can't put it any better than Ron Nersessian, the head of Agilent Technologies' electronic measurement group. Developing people's talent is the whole of the company at the end of the day. Our products are all time perishable. The only thing that stays is the institutional learning and the development of the skills and the capabilities that we have in our people. Managing people with precision is without question harder than managing numbers, but it is doable and gets easier once you know how. Companies such as GE, P&G, Hindustan Unilever, and some others analyze talent, understand it, shape it, and build it through a combination of disciplined routines and processes, and something even rarer and harder to observe from outside, a collective expertise honed through years of continuous improvement in recognizing and developing talent. These companies have disproved the myth that the judgment of human potential is a soft art. Their rigorous iterative and repetitive processes convert subjective judgment about a person's talent into an objective set of observations that are specific, verifiable, and ultimately just as concrete as the analysis of a financial statement. They have embedded in their culture the habits of observing talent, making judgments about it, and figuring out how to unleash it. They draw from their large toolboxes and creative imaginations to accelerate each leader's growth. Their executives are expected to make developing, deploying, and refreshing leadership talent an everyday top-of-the-mind part of their jobs, and they are held accountable for how well they do it. These companies are building for the long term. We call them talent masters, and this book will show you how they do it. Searching for the specifics. One reason hard-headed managers disdain the soft stuff is that it so often reflects soft thinking. Take some of the criteria human resources staffs commonly use to evaluate leadership competencies. They'll rank people on a scale according to labels like these: strategic, innovative, master communicator, very bright, analytic, intuitive, and so on. These cryptic descriptions are so broad that they are worthless in the real world of managing. They cannot even predict whether a person is a good or poor fit for a given job, much less capture the unique abilities of an outstanding leader. An exercise in a course at Wharton's Advanced Management Program exposes the futility of buzzword descriptors. The instructor at a recent session asked the participants to explain Steve Jobs' distinguishing talent. Put aside his controversial personality and behaviors for the moment, the instructor advised. What we want to know is why he has beaten all expectations in his second act at Apple, including his own. When Apple's market value overtook Microsoft's in June 2010, Jobs called the development surreal. In the dozen years since he reclaimed the failing company, he has turned it into a hard-driving, cash-generating machine. He doesn't just develop new products, he changes games. The iPod, iPhone, and iPad, along with iTunes, have created massive disruptions, forcing players in the music and telecom industries, among others, to change their business models. There's enough information available about the way Jobs thinks, behaves, and makes decisions that anyone who cared to could assess his real talent in several dimensions and describe it in clear language with specificity and nuance. Most people don't even try. When the instructor at Wharton asks participants the question about what Jobs' talent is, hands shoot up all over the room. He's creative, innovative, entrepreneurial. He's a master of communication. He breaks the paradigm, creates new businesses. He changes the game of other people. After a couple of minutes, the instructor calls a halt. You can't do it in buzzwords, he says. To really define a person's talent, you need to express your full thought about a human being in whole sentences, with nuances that are specific to that person. And you have to get the information by closely observing the person's actions, decisions, and patterns of behavior. He shows the way by asking some probing questions. How is he creative? Somebody replies, he figures out what will be a great product. Okay, but how does he do that? He interacts with consumers. Fine, but how does he interact with consumers? Somebody has read that he hangs out with young people. Another observes that he is always looking for upcoming technologies ahead of others. Still no cigar. The instructor next gives the executives information they can use to drill down and get to the real nature of Steve Jobs' talent. For starters, they hear a tale from one Apple director about the special board meeting held after Jobs accepted the post. Jobs walked up to the wall of the conference room where Apple's roughly 24 current products were on display and began taking them down one at a time. When he was done, only 4 were left. Those were...
Sample complete. Ready to continue?